So I'm going to take some time because there are a few things that I definitely want to say, because Maranatha has been the most influential part of my life. And I want to tell some stories. I'm not going to take too much of your time, but there is a message in all of this. So I graduated in '92, so that would have been roughly 27 years ago. And I actually wanted to go to Maranatha. I had a sister, 3 years younger. She didn't want to go to Maranatha. She wanted to go to John Muir High School. And I came out of Pasadena Christian School. Many of you are aware of that institution. Most of the time it's a feeder school into Maranatha. And I knew I wanted to go to Maranatha because of its Christian influence. That was something that was instilled in me by mom and dad, who are there at my table. I'm so glad they're here with me. And that was important for me. And it still is important for me today. My parents sacrificed greatly for me to attend Maranatha. And I think also, as we just heard, get all the names here correctly, from Hannah, same experience for me, sacrificed greatly, because they knew that Maranatha was going to afford me and give me an opportunity to create something in my life in which I couldn't get at John Muir High School. Most of the people that I grew up with spent a lot of time at the Pasadena Boys Club. Most of those guys are no longer living today. They're dead. They didn't have any vision for their life. They didn't have any purpose for their life, running the streets, doing whatever they wanted to do. But yet, my parents saw something that was in me that allowed them, God blessing them, to allow me to go to Maranatha, and I am forever grateful. When I attended Maranatha, I actually went to not just get an education, but I wanted to play basketball. Basketball was my first love. Anytime you find me outside, I'm out there playing basketball. But then I walked on campus, and I think John Rouse, or maybe Ken Conquest, or someone said, "You know what? There's something about you, young man, and I want to get to know you a little bit more." And I believe it was John, and he said specifically to me, "You have a natural running gift. Let's explore that and see what we can do with that."
John.
I hear everybody laughing. I think that's John's way of saying, we need to be a part of what I'm doing. And I said, John, I want to play basketball. That's my focus. And so my first year at Maranatha, I didn't run cross country at all. I did not want to run. Even though I had a gift, I didn't want to run. I think I told John, or at least I said to myself, I said, black people don't run. So after my first year of playing basketball, he kept coming to me and saying, "Anthony, I really think that you should come out." And so that's what I did. First practice, absolutely hated it. I threw up, I complained, I said, "I'm never going to do this again." But I kept coming back. I kept coming back. And as I've gotten older, I believe I know why. First of all, I'm the kind of individual who doesn't quit. I also enjoy being around people who are willing to push me and who are willing to inspire me. And if anyone says to me that there's something in you that you need to explore, I'm going to be the first one to explore it. That's the kind of person that I am. And so I find so much value in having that opportunity to run cross country. There are 4 men in my life who have touched me, who have blessed me, who have influenced my life beyond anyone else. I'm going to give you those names right now. One is by name of one of my teachers from Pasadena Christian School by the name of Robert Farrar. He was my 8th grade teacher, wonderful man, always called me Yahoo and all the other guys. But he believed in me. He said he wanted to do something with me. And so he shared his life, he shared his family, and he brought me in. The other person was also a Pasadena Christian coach. His name was Coach Carg, Alan Carg. Just a phenomenal basketball coach. And then the other 2 men are here with us today. That's my father, Leonard Fisher. My father not only is my father, he's a man of God, a pastor, a missionary, and I'm a PK. So I can easily run long. I won't run too long, but I do still want to say a couple of things. So first of all, and also my dad also coached with me once I came back to Maranatha to teach 2 years. So once I graduated from Azusa Pacific, I came back, I taught in the classroom, then I also coached basketball, cross country, and track. My dad was my assistant coach. And then lastly is this man that we're all going to say hello to and give honor to John Rouse. So there's a couple things about John that has taught me, and really, he is Mr. Maranatha to me. Without John, there is no Anthony Fisher, and I'm going to be honest with you. John taught me 4 things. Dream big, and create a vision for your life. Prior to attending Maranatha, I never had anyone sow into me as much as John. And I think that's something that's missing in today's society, especially as coaches, as fathers, is that we don't invest in our kids. We don't invest in our athletes as we should. And I get discouraged when I see coaches do certain things to their athletes or to their children that don't promote healthy living, or don't promote a way for the child to create a vision and a purpose and an action for their life. But John did that for me. The second thing is, John instilled in me is trust in God. Trust in God. It's easy to trust in God, so to speak, when you're at home, because that's what you do every day. You go to church, you say your prayers, etc., etc. But when you're in an environment and someone else tells you, you know what? Trust in God. You said, it's not by might, it's nor by power, it's by my spirit, says the Lord. That is my verse. Because I recognize also in my life that I've had to go through some difficult times and some challenges. And I recognize that, I may be gifted in many different things. Cross-country, basketball, track, athletics, etc., etc. But my gift is for God. It's not that I'm supposed to go out there and just use it however I want to. I am supposed to use it to glorify Him. And He can use me however He chooses to.
Yeah.
The third one here is that breakthrough happens when we learn how to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. And I think you said it very clearly. As a cross-country runner, we're in pain most of the time. We have to fight through that pain. It's a mental game most of the time. Some of it's physical, but most of it's mental. And so I've learned by that man that breakthrough happens when we learn how to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. John would tell me on the track field, he would say, anybody can slow down fish. And when he would say that, that meant to me, I either had an option to continue to run, to speed up, or to slow down. It's my option. It's my choice. Which one do I want to use? Which one do I want to choose? And I chose to run hard, extremely hard. But through that work, God had blessed me tremendously to win and to build some phenomenal relationships, and more importantly, to apply these principles in running to my life. Apostle Paul tells us to run as to win, and that's what I do every single day. The last thing Coach John told me was to take coaching seriously. He was a serious coach. He had lots of fun. Yes, everything we did wasn't necessarily godly. The TPing of the houses and etc., etc. Those are fun times, and I enjoy that. And as a matter of fact, the first time I ever went camping was because of this man here on the team. I absolutely hated him. There was no black guy who's going out miles and miles and miles to go camping. It was foreign to me, absolutely foreign. But I absolutely had a blast. I learned a lot from those experiences. And I can honestly tell you that those experiences in high school has really blessed me more than even at my time at Azusa Pacific. I won championships there. I got some familiar relationships. But the one thing that stood apart is that I never had a coach like John Rouse. John, know that you made a difference in my life. I want you to know that. And I think I may express that to you as often as I can. Because as my friend here says, you never know when someone's not going to be around. So you give honor to someone while they're still living. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I'm doing tonight. I want to tell you about one race, so give me just maybe another 3 or 4 minutes. CIF race, Mount Sac. Gone out, top 5 early on, had about a quarter of a mile left to go. There's a guy by the name of Oscar Montez, another teammate, a guy I looked up to. It was the first time I'm running. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to beat Oscar. I'm like, that guy is like the guy to beat. Phenomenal young man. And I passed him up, and I'm like, I'm going to beat Oscar. And then something happened. My body shut down. It was dehydration. Never had an experience like that in my life. I was carved up. I had enough fluids in my body, but something happened in my life at that point in time that changed my life. John, do you remember this? About a quarter mile or so, maybe a little bit longer, I fell. My body said, "You're done, Anthony. There's no more to give." And so I fell, and I cut my chin on the ground. And I was just in my mind, I have to keep going. So I got up again. And this is concrete. This is asphalt. Committed to get to that finish line. Because I didn't want to lose the opportunity to pass the finish line or get to the finish line. My team was depending upon me. And I wanted to do my best. And I got up and I fell again. Mentally, I knew what was going on. But physically, my body was saying no. And if you are a part of cross country, you know that any time that you touch someone on the team, or you pick them up, allowing them to get to the finish line, your team is disqualified. I don't know if those are the same rules today, but they were back when I was running. And I remember calling out to God and said, "God, I just need you. Help me get to the finish line." And I remember running, and my teammate Daniel, I hear him saying, "Fish, come on, Fish, get up." And I hear all these other guys running past me. In my mind, I'm so frustrated. Because I gave my heart to do my best job. I feel like I failed my team. I failed myself. And I put forth a whole bunch of effort and time and energy to get to that level. And I remember Daniel picking me up. And he got me to the finish line. Now, the interesting thing about that story is that John got me to the finish line, picked me up, put erg, or whatever we call that stuff. It's like a Gatorade, right? Put it in me. I threw it up. 30 minutes. I was able to get settled in. And I saw my friend Daniel, and I said, "Daniel, thank you for picking me up." And this is what he said to me. He said, "Anthony, I didn't touch you. I didn't pick you up. It was angels. It was God's hand on my life."
Take your time.
That was my first experience with God. Ever since then, my life has never been the same. How many of us live our lives without experiencing God? We talk faith. We think we live by faith. And some of us do. But God is all around us. And He loves us. He wants to help us. He has a calling and giftings that we're supposed to use in our life. My challenge to you guys is to allow God to use you. Don't just say it, live it. And in a day and age where so many people are taking a back seat to their faith, God requires us to take a step forward so that He can use us mightily for our lives. Maranatha has been, is precious to me, is really precious to me. We have Dan Newkirk here, who was my teacher. Some familiar faces I see here. This is home for me. This is home for me, and I'm honored to really be here with you. We talk about coaching here, and I'm just about done. When we coach, we change lives. When we speak into people's lives, we change lives. When we have a vision for a young man or for a young girl, or even for our friends or family members, we're sowing seed and we're changing lives. I've committed myself to change lives. Because of Maranatha, because of you, because of John, because of Mr. Newkirk, because of the people who have invested in me. Over the summer, a buddy of mine was a teammate. We were connecting, and he called me up, and he said, "Anthony," he said, "Fish, I want you to know that I named my son after you." Because I influenced his life. Tim Ellis, John. You just never know who you're going to touch. You never know the type of influence you have on people's lives. Take life seriously. Have fun, obviously, of course. But invest in people, because at the end of the day, guys, the kingdom of God is all about investing in people and showing the love of Jesus Christ through you. That's what it's all about. So thank you, Maranatha. Thank you all for this opportunity. I never would have thought that 27 years later I would be here. but I appreciate you and for taking the time to honor me tonight. Thank you so much.